I stood in the sleek lobby of Cascade Logistics, my arms crossed, staring down at Mason Carter. The man who'd fired me 2 weeks ago now looked like he hadn't slept in days. His tie was crooked, his eyes bloodshot, and a coffee stain marred his designer shirt. "Scarlett, please," he begged, his voice cracking. "You're our only hope. The systems are down, millions are gone. We need you." I let the silence stretch, my face a mask of calm, but inside, my heart pounded with a mix of fury and vindication. How did I end up here with the CEO who called me obsolete groveling at my feet? If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with all our latest stories. Your support means the world. If you find this video valuable, give it a like. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. Now let's dive into the story. 2 weeks earlier, I was sitting at a long glass table in Pinnacle Textiles conference room, forcing a smile as my farewell lunch unfolded. After 25 years of building their data systems from the ground up, I was being ushered out the door. The new CEO, Mason Carter, raised his champagne flute, his polished smile never reaching his eyes. To Apex Core, he declared, "The AI that'll take Pinnacle into the future." The room clapped obediently, but I felt the sting of his next words like a slap. "And to Scarlett, whose old-school methods got us this far. The future doesn't need dusty code, does it?" A few colleagues chuckled nervously, their eyes darting away from mine. I gripped my worn leather journal tighter, its pages filled with the undocumented secrets of Pinnacle's systems, secrets no AI could replicate. I'm Scarlett Hayes, 58 years old, and for a quarter century, I was the backbone of Pinnacle Textiles in Portland, Oregon. I started when it was just coastal threads, a scrappy outfit in a drafty warehouse. Back then, I was the computer lady, stringing cables and writing code that became the foundation of a billion-dollar empire. Inventory tracking, customer databases, shipping logistics. I built it all. But to Mason, a 37-year-old tech bro with an MBA and zero apparel experience, I was a relic. As he droned on about disrupting legacy systems, I scanned the room. My team, people I'd mentored for years, stared at their plates. They knew this wasn't a retirement party. It was a ceremonial discard. The journal in my hands felt heavier than ever. Inside were 25 years of institutional knowledge, emergency workarounds, manual override codes, quirks of our custom-built systems that no cloud server could store. Only I understood the delicate dance of our databases, the patches I'd coded at 3 a.m. to keep orders flowing. Mason hadn't even asked for a handover. Apex Core's got it covered, he'd said 3 weeks ago, leaning back in his ergonomic chair when he told me my role was redundant. Redundant. The word burned. I was 58, not ready to retire, but the decision wasn't mine. As the lunch ended, I stood, thanking everyone with a practiced nod. Mason clapped me on the shoulder, his grip too tight. "Enjoy the slow life, Scarlett," he said, smirking. I wanted to scream that his shiny AI would never understand the chaos of a Black Friday rush, but I just smiled. My journal stayed tucked under my arm, a silent promise I hadn't yet named. As I walked to my car, the Portland drizzle soaking my coat, my phone buzzed. An email from Lucas Bennett, CTO of Cascade Logistics, Pinnacle's biggest rival. The subject line read, "We need to talk." My heart skipped. I opened it, and the final line made my breath catch. "We know what Pinnacle lost." The rain had stopped, but the air in my Portland bungalow felt heavy that evening. I sat on my faded couch, a mug of chamomile tea cooling on the coffee table, my leather journal open in my lap. Its pages, creased and ink-stained, held the story of my life's work. Every late-night fix, every custom code that kept Pinnacle Textiles running like a well-oiled machine. I traced a finger over a scribbled note from 2003, a workaround for a server crash during a holiday rush. 25 years of building their empire, and Mason Carter had called it dusty code. The sting of his words at my farewell lunch lingered, sharper now in the quiet of my home. Back in 1998, when I started at Coastal Threads, I was 33, fresh out of a computer science program where I was one of 3 women in my class. Henry Larson, the founder, hired me because I saw the big picture. "You think like a builder, Scarlett," he'd said, his voice warm with trust. Coastal Threads was just a regional player then, operating out of a drafty warehouse with 19 employees. I strung cables, coded inventory systems, and built a customer database that could handle growth we only dreamed of. As we became Pinnacle Textiles, I designed logistics protocols that synced 5 distribution centers across the West Coast. By the time we hit $1 billion, my systems were the company's nervous system. Henry valued every line of code. Mason? He valued buzzwords. Everything changed when Henry retired 3 years ago. The board brought in Mason, a 37-year-old with a Wharton degree and a resume of tech startups that flamed out faster than his promises. His first all-hands meeting was a TED Talk gone wrong. "We need to disrupt ourselves before the market does," he preached, pacing the stage like a motivational speaker. Soon, consultants from some fancy firms swarmed our office, peppering me with questions about my databases, my redundancies, my emergency protocols. I answered openly, proud of my work, assuming they were there to improve it. Looking back, I was naive. Loyalty blinded me to what they were really doing, paving the way for Apex Core, the AI that would make me redundant. My phone buzzed, yanking me from my thoughts. A text from Zoe, a junior developer I'd mentored for 5 years. "Scarlett, you need to know something," it read. My stomach twisted as I opened the message. "Mason's been telling everyone your outdated systems caused glitches before you left. He's saying that's why they had to replace you." "I'm so sorry." I stared at the screen, my tea forgotten. Glitches? My systems were flawless, triple-checked every quarter. Mason hadn't just fired me. He'd smeared my legacy to justify his shiny new toy. The betrayal cut deeper than his smirk at the lunch. I wanted to call Zoe to ask for details, but my anger froze me. I just typed, "Thanks for telling me," and set the phone down. The doorbell chimed, startling me. Through the peephole, I saw Chloe from HR, holding a gift basket wrapped in cellophane. "Just checking on you," she said when I opened the door, her smile too bright. "The transition team needs a few system passwords. For the backup protocols." Her casual tone didn't fool me. They were already hitting snags with Apex Core. "Everything's in the handover documents," I said coolly, taking the basket but not inviting her in. "The master list has all the access codes." Chloe's smile faltered. "There's some confusion with the warehouse interfaces. They're not standard." Of course they weren't. I'd built them custom, tweaked over decades to fit Pinnacle's needs. "I'm sure Mason's team will figure it out," I said, shutting the door. Alone again, I opened my laptop, Zoe's text still burning in my mind. That's when I saw the email from Lucas Bennett at Cascade Logistics again. I'd skimmed it in the parking lot after the lunch, but now I read every word. "We've admired your work for years, Scarlett," it said. "Pinnacle's loss is our opportunity. Can we meet tomorrow to discuss a consultation?" The final line hit like a spark in the dark. "We know what Pinnacle lost." My heart raced. This wasn't just a job offer. It was a chance to reclaim my worth. The Portland skyline glittered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Cascade Logistics' office, a stark contrast to Pinnacle's drab industrial campus. I sat across from Lucas Bennett, their CTO, who leaned forward, his eyes bright with genuine interest. "Scarlett, your inventory system at Pinnacle was legendary," he said. "We've been struggling with multi-location sync for years. Can you help us crack it?" His team, 5 developers, all younger than my journal's oldest pages, nodded eagerly, laptops open, ready to learn. For the first time in weeks, I felt seen. Not obsolete. Valued. They offered me a consulting role, 3 days a week, at double my old salary. I wanted to say yes right then, but Zoe's text from last night gnawed at me. Mason's lies about my outdated systems causing glitches. I needed to focus, but my phone buzzed again. Another message from Isaac, a warehouse coder I'd trained. "Scarlett, it's bad. Orders are misrouted. Inventory's frozen. Apex Core's choking." I sighed, slipping the phone into my pocket. Not my problem anymore. Back at Cascade, Lucas walked me through their systems, his questions sharp but respectful. Their setup was solid but clunky, nothing my old Pinnacle protocols couldn't fix. I'd solved their exact issue 15 years ago, syncing warehouses during Pinnacle's expansion. "I can help," I told Lucas, my confidence stirring. As we wrapped up, My phone vibrated again, this time a call from Zoe. I stepped into the hallway, the glass walls reflecting my tense expression. "Scarlett, I did something risky," Zoe whispered, her voice shaky. "I got into Mason's emails. He rushed Apex Core's rollout to secure a $2 million bonus from the board. Ignored your warnings about integration. I'm sending you the files." My breath caught. Zoe, my quiet mentee, had just put her job on the line. Before I could respond, she added, "The team's drowning. 7,000 employees, Scarlett. They need you." Her plea hit like a punch. I cared about Pinnacle's workers, people like Zoe, who'd trusted me to guide them. But Mason's betrayal, his smear campaign, burned too hot. "I'll think about it," I said, my voice tight. "Stay safe, Zoe." She sent the emails minutes later. I skimmed them on my phone, my jaw clenching. Mason's messages to the board bragged about cutting legacy deadweight, me, and pushing Apex Core to secure my incentive. He'd dismissed my detailed integration warnings as overly cautious. The arrogance was staggering. I forwarded the files to my personal email, my hands trembling with anger. This wasn't just a firing. It was a calculated move to boost his ego and his bank account. I wanted to storm back to Pinnacle and shove the truth in his face, but I took a deep breath. I wasn't that Scarlett anymore. Returning to Lucas, I shook off the rage and focused. "I'm in," I told him, signing the consulting contract. Cascade's offer was a fresh start, a chance to build something new without Mason's shadow. But as I drove home, Zoe's words echoed. 7,000 livelihoods, chaos in the warehouses, customer complaints piling up. Guilt tugged at me. I'd built those systems to withstand anything, and now they were crumbling because of Mason's greed. I pulled into my driveway, the Portland dusk settling over my bungalow. My phone lit up with another text from Isaac. "It's worse. Customer portal's glitching now. Mason's blaming your code publicly." Publicly. The smear was spreading. I gripped my journal, its weight a reminder of the power I still held, the knowledge Mason couldn't touch. I opened my laptop, ready to dive into Cascade systems, when a news alert popped up on my screen. My heart sank as I read the headline, "Pinnacle Textiles Systems Crash. Stock Plummets 10%. The article described catastrophic failures in Apex Core, with orders vanishing and warehouses at a standstill. Mason's future was imploding, and the world was watching. I closed the laptop, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to let Pinnacle burn. But Zoe's voice, her risk, her trust in me, wouldn't let go. What was I going to do? The news alert about Pinnacle's crash haunted me all weekend, but I pushed it aside, diving into my first week at Cascade Logistics. Their Portland office buzzed with energy, my new team scribbling notes as I mapped out their inventory sync solution. For the first time in years, I felt like I was building something, not just patching someone else's mess. But by Monday morning, Pinnacle's disaster had a name: Blackout Monday. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Texts from Isaac, voicemails from Chloe in HR, even a cryptic message from Henry Larson, the retired founder. The local news screamed of a $50 million loss, with Pinnacle's stock tanking 10% overnight. Orders were gone, warehouses were frozen, and the customer portal was a digital graveyard. Mason's Apex Core had imploded, and the world knew it. I was in Cascade's break room, sipping coffee, when Lucas, the CTO, pulled me aside. "Scarlett, I got a call from Henry Larson," he said, his tone careful. "He's on Pinnacle's board. Asked if you'd consult to fix their mess." I told him we don't loan out our best people, but he raised an eyebrow. "This could be your play. Name your terms." My heart skipped. Henry, the man who'd hired me 25 years ago, was reaching out. Not Mason. Not yet. I nodded, my mind racing. Zoe's smuggled emails, proof Mason rushed Apex Core for a $2 million bonus, burned in my memory. So did his public smear, blaming my outdated code for his failure. I wasn't ready to decide, but Lucas's words lit a spark. This was my chance to turn the tables. That afternoon, my assistant rushed into my office, eyes wide. "Scarlett, Mason Carter's in the lobby. He's demanding to see you. Says it's urgent." My stomach twisted, but a grim satisfaction settled in. The man who'd mocked me as obsolete was here on my turf. I agreed to a 15-minute meeting in a first-floor conference room, neutral ground. When I walked in, Mason looked like a man unraveling. His suit was wrinkled, dark circles framed his eyes, and a coffee stain streaked his shirt. "Scarlett," he said, lunging to shake my hand. I stepped back, my expression cold. "What do you want, Mason?" He didn't sit, pacing like a caged animal. "The systems are down. Everything. We're losing millions a day. Apex Core is a disaster. We need you." His voice cracked, but I felt no pity. "You fired me," I said, my tone sharp. "Called me obsolete. Said my code was holding you back." He winced, running a hand through his hair. "That was a mistake. We'll pay you anything. A blank check. 6 months, full control." I leaned back, studying him. The arrogance was gone, replaced by desperation. Then he made a mistake. "You know what happened to our systems," he snapped. "You probably built in these failures." My anger flared, hot and sharp. "I built systems that ran flawlessly for 25 years, I shot back. "You dismantled them without reading a single page of my documentation. You want a fix? Try my disaster recovery protocol. Volume 3, Section 8. "Oh, wait, you ignored it." His mouth opened, then closed, like a fish gasping for air. I stood gathering my notes. "You made this mess, Mason. Clean it up." As I reached the door, my phone rang, Henry Larson's name on the screen. I turned back, meeting Mason's pleading eyes. "Our 15 minutes are up," I said, and walked out, my pulse pounding with a mix of fury and power. In the elevator, I answered Henry's call. His voice was steady but urgent. "Scarlett, it's a catastrophe. The board's in chaos. We need you." He paused, then added, "Name your terms." I gripped my journal. Zoe's plea for Pinnacle's 7,000 employees echoing in my mind. Mason's accusation, his lies, his greed. They fueled my resolve. But Henry's trust, Zoe's risk, and the workers' livelihoods tugged at me. I took a deep breath. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about control. Henry's call lingered in my mind as I sat in my Portland bungalow that evening, my leather journal open on the kitchen table. Mason's desperate plea in Cascade's lobby, his accusation that I'd sabotaged Pinnacle's systems, still burned. But Zoe's smuggled emails, proof he'd rushed Apex Core for a $2 million bonus, gave me leverage. Helping Pinnacle wasn't about saving Mason. It was about protecting the 7,000 employees, people like Zoe, who'd risked her job to expose the truth. I called Henry back the next morning, my voice steady. "I'll consult remotely through your tech team only. No contact with Mason. I want $500,000 up front, and Pinnacle signs a partnership with Cascade Logistics, giving them priority distribution rights." Henry hesitated. "That's a lot, Scarlett." I didn't flinch. "Your stock's down 10%. You're bleeding millions. This is cheap." After a long pause, he said, "I'll take it to the board." The board approved my terms in a grueling 8-hour session, overruling Mason's protests. By Wednesday, I was on video calls with Pinnacle's tech team, guiding them through the chaos of Blackout Monday's aftermath. The work was grueling, untangling Apex Core's botched integration, restoring corrupted order logs, rebooting warehouse interfaces. My journal was my lifeline, its pages detailing fixes no one else could decipher. But as I dug deeper, I uncovered something that made my blood run cold. The secondary backup server, my failsafe for disasters, had been shut down 6 months ago. An email from Mason to the IT director, buried in Zoe's files, confirmed it. Decommission Building B's server. Cost savings. He'd gutted my safety net to pad his budget, leaving Pinnacle vulnerable. Worse, I found a trail of invoices showing Mason's consultant friends had pocketed $10 million from Apex Core's contract. My firing wasn't just about innovation. It was a shady deal to line their pockets. I kept the discovery to myself, but it sharpened my focus. Helping Pinnacle was a risk. Cascade could see it as a betrayal, and Lucas had trusted me with their future. But Zoe's gratitude, her quiet thank you after our first call, made it personal. I worked late into the night, my laptop glowing in the dark, rebuilding Pinnacle's core systems. By Friday, orders were flowing again, and warehouses hummed. The news reported Pinnacle's miraculous recovery, estimating I'd saved $100 million in losses. Cascade, meanwhile, landed 3 of Pinnacle's biggest clients through our new partnership, their overflow orders flooding our docks. Lucas called, his voice warm. "You're a genius, Scarlett. Those clients, they're staying." I smiled, but Zoe's pleas still weighed on me. I'd saved her job, but at what cost to my own? The tech team's updates revealed Mason's absence. He'd been sidelined, his name barely mentioned. I sensed the board's faith in him crumbling, especially after I shared the decommissioned server issue with Henry, framing it as an oversight. The consultant scandal, though, I held back. It was my ace, a weapon for the right moment. My Cascade work didn't falter. I spent mornings designing their inventory sync, my team marveling at its elegance. But the dual roles stretched me thin, and I worried Lucas might notice. Zoe called one evening, her voice lighter. "The team's calling you our guardian angel. Mason's losing it, he knows he's on thin ice." I laughed softly, but guilt flickered. I was playing a dangerous game, balancing loyalty to Zoe with my new life at Cascade. As I closed my laptop, ready to collapse into bed, an email from a board member popped up. The subject line was stark: "Mason's out. You should know why." My heart raced. I opened it, scanning the first line. The board voted 9-3 to remove Mason Carter as CEO, effective immediately. My journal lay beside me, its secrets now the key to Pinnacle's survival and Mason's downfall. I leaned back, the weight of the week settling in. I'd reclaimed my power, but the board's email hinted at more. What did they know? And what would it mean for me? The email from Pinnacle's board sat open on my laptop, its words sinking in like the final notes of a long, chaotic symphony. Mason Carter was gone, voted out 9-3 after Blackout Monday's $130 million disaster. I leaned back in my Portland bungalow's armchair, the familiar weight of my leather journal absent. Its secrets had done their work. Henry Larson, now interim CEO, had called earlier, his voice heavy with gratitude. "Scarlett, you saved us. The tech team's calling your protocols a miracle." I smiled, but the victory felt bittersweet. I'd restored Pinnacle's systems, secured Cascade's future, and exposed Mason's greed, but the cost was weeks of sleepless nights and a tightrope walk between two worlds. Zoe's gratitude, though, made it worth it. She'd texted me yesterday, promoted to lead developer. "Couldn't have done it without you." At Cascade Logistics, my work had transformed their operations. The inventory sync I'd designed boosted efficiency by 40%, and our new partnership with Pinnacle brought in clients we'd chased for years. Lucas Bennett, the CTO, insisted on honoring me. Today, I stood at the ribbon cutting for Cascade's new tech hub, my name etched on a gleaming plaque, Scarlett Hayes Innovation Center. The crowd, local business leaders, my team, even Zoe, clapped as Lucas spoke. "Scarlett didn't just join us," he said, his voice carrying across the sunlit atrium. "She showed us that technology serves people, not the other way around." I caught Zoe's eye in the crowd, her proud nod warming me. This wasn't revenge. It was creation, a legacy built on my terms. As the ceremony ended, a woman approached, her handshake firm. "Hannah Reed, Governor's Office," she said. "Your work's making waves, Scarlett. We're forming a task force on state tech infrastructure. We need your expertise. Would you advise us?" I blinked, stunned. 6 months ago, Mason had called me obsolete. Now, I was being tapped to shape Oregon's tech future. "I'd be honored," I said, taking her card. We talked for 20 minutes, her questions sharp, my answers flowing. For the first time in decades, I felt limitless. My journal retired, its knowledge now shared with teams who valued it. Later, at the reception, I sipped sparkling water, gazing at Portland's skyline through the hub's windows. Pinnacle's campus was just visible, its logo dimmed by dusk. Henry had emailed details of Mason's ousting. The board uncovered his $10 million consultant payouts, thanks to a tip I'd quietly passed to Henry about the invoices in Zoe's files. Mason's bonus-driven rush of Apex Core, his decommissioning of my backup server, it all painted a picture of reckless greed. The board's vote wasn't just about losses. It was about trust shattered. Henry was back, steering Pinnacle to recovery, and he'd offered me a permanent role. I declined. My place was here, with Cascade, with Zoe's future, with the States. A text from Zoe broke my reverie. New CEO announced. Guess who? I smiled, already knowing. Henry Larson, the man who'd seen my potential 25 years ago, was staying on. I pocketed my phone. No need to reply. That chapter was closed. As I mingled, Lucas pulled me aside. The Wilson Group, Pinnacle's old client? They're signing with us permanently. $12 million a year. I raised an eyebrow. Business is business, he said with a grin. I nodded, a quiet satisfaction settling in. Pinnacle would survive, but Cascade was rising, and I was its architect. Standing by the hub's entrance, my name gleaming on the plaque, I realized the truth. The best revenge wasn't tearing Mason down. It was building something better. A center, a team, a future. Zoe joined me, her smile bright. You changed everything, she said. I looked out at the skyline, Portland's lights flickering to life. No, I said softly. I just started over. And for the first time, I knew that was enough.